Hello all, welcome to our channel Morning Alarm. In this video, I am going to tell you about the data models which is from the data concepts in DBMS. And this is the first part of the video, and in further videos I would like to cover the all individual data models with a separate video, so that hope you will subscribe to our channel for more information and for the more concepts. Okay, let's start this episode. The data models. The definition of the data models. Data model is the modeling of the data description, data semantics, and consistency constraints of the data. It provides the conceptual tools for describing the design of a database at each level of data abstraction. We can say that data model is a model which describes about the structure of the database. And there are four models which is classified by the data models, and are, in other words, the data models can be classified into four models, that is relational data model, semi-structured data model, entity relationship data model, and object-based data model. Okay, first we will start with the relational data model. This type of model designs the data in the form of a rows and columns within a table. Thus, a relational model uses tables for representing the data and in-between relationships. Tables are also called relations. This model was initially described by the Edgar F. Codd in 1969. The relational data model is the widely used model which is primarily used by commercial data processing applications. Simply, we can say that a relational data model represents the data in the form of a tables, which is formed by using the rows and the columns. Also, the name of the column is said to be attributes, and each of the row is said to be tuple, and all the data in these tuples are said to be records. Particular element in an attribute or a tuple is said to be a field, and this entire table is said to be a relation, and the data entered into these relations is entities. Simply, the real life objects are only entered into the relations or tables. The next model is the entity relationship data model. An ER model is the logical representation of the data as objects and relationships among them. So, representing the data in the logical form, in the form of objects and the relationships among them, and that is said to be ER model. These objects are also known as entities. Objects are nothing but the real life objects, also called as entities, and relationships is an association among these entities. The connection between these entities is said to be relationship. This model was designed by the Peter Chen and published in 1976 papers. It was widely used in the database designing. A set of attributes describes the entities. For example, student name, student ID describes the student entity. So we can say that some of the attributes representing some entity. Here the student name and the student ID describes the entity student. A set of same type of entities is known as the entity set, and the set of the same type of relationships is known as the relationship set. ER model can easily explain by using an example. If we observe this, student is one of the entity and college is another entity. These two entities are connected by using this rhombus, which is having the studying relation. Nothing but student is one entity and college is another entity, and study in is the relation between student and the college. If we observe that student ID, student name, and student address are attributes which are going to define the entity student. Here again, college ID and college name are the two different attributes which is defining the entity college. If we observe the shapes, attributes are represented by using the oval shapes, and the entities are represented by using the square shapes, and the relation between the entities is represented by using a rhombus. These are connected by using the straight lines. It is an example for ER model. Let's move on to the next model. The next model is object-based data model. First thing first, entity relationship model is also a subpart of object-based data model. In other words, ER model is an example for object-based data models. Now let's see the definition of it. An extension of the ER model with notions of functions, encapsulations, and object identity as well. It is nothing but the extension of the ER model. This model supports a rich type system that includes structured and collection types. So this model is in the form of structured form and collection form. Thus, in 1980s, various database systems following the object-oriented approach were developed. Here, the objects are nothing but the data carrying its properties. Here, objects are also considered as entities too, but object-based data models is consisting some of the data models like ER models, functional models, etc. It can be explained by using an example. In object-based data model, there are different types of attributes which are going to define different type of entities. Number of entities are connected by using the number of relations. Here, if we consider this example, here 4 entities are there and each entity is having relations with other. This type of complex structured model, data model, is said to be an object-based data model. All entities are objects, which are the real life objects. Also, those are having the different attributes based upon their entities. The next one is semi-structured data model. First thing first, this semi-structured data model is different from all the above data models. Why? Because I will explain that thing in the example. Now let's see the definition. This type of data model is different from the other 3 data models. The semi-structured data models allow the data specifications at places where the individual data items of the same type may have different attribute sets. Right? The extensible markup language is also known as XML is widely used for the representing the semi-structured data. Although XML was initially designed for including the markup information to the text document, it gains the importance because of applications in the exchange of data. I think you heard about the XML which is used in the web pages. I think so, yeah, right. Semi-structured data model doesn't have any particular structure. That's why it is named as semi-structured data model. It will explain by using an example. If we observe these, there is no any particular structure or particular relation or particular attributes or tuples are present here. There is some names, some data which are considered by using the straightlets only, which means it consisting of more flexibility. If we want to add some data into this model, it is very easier when compared to the above 3 models. Since it doesn't have any structure, it is used to replace something or add something or delete something from the database. So it is a flexible data model. If you wanna know some examples, mails, web pages are the most efficient examples for the semi-structured data models. Thank you for this session, and I will explain each and every model in detail in further videos. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys like the video, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Morning alarm.